Rochelle, we're just over a month into the Volkswagen scandal now. It's still a moving affair. There are hundreds of countries involved, many different models of car. What's your sense of how well Volkswagen's management is staying on top of this and managing the communications progress with investors?
I'll preface this by saying clearly it's a very complicated situation, and it is difficult to get on top of. As you mentioned, there's roughly say 100 million cars around the world from the last decade or so of production. It's a lot to get their handle on, but they haven't been making it any easier for themselves. I would say they've been very committed, very strong to showing a commitment for speed and to rebuild trust and clarification they keep talking about, but it's very light on details and what they're actually doing and how far they're on, how much progress they've made.
I can see that's a real problem for their image, for their brand. A lot of politicians in Germany are getting very excited about the damage that it's doing to Germany's image in the world. But why, as a shareholder, why should I care about a company's brand image? All I'm interested in is the money. Are they still selling cars?
Well, two reasons really. One, as a shareholder, what are the costs going to be for this scandal? They're clearly going to be very material costs. Now, the first time round we had, there was $15–20 billion worth of fines that's been since readjusted, or people have rethought that, but they've had two big chunks of recalls now that they've talked about. So the initial one was 11 million vehicles, estimated to be about 6 to 7 billion euros on recall costs. And then just recently we've had another revelation around CO2 emissions on 800,000 vehicles. And that's 2 billion of costs. So that's a really different range.
So the cost per car
yeah,
is a
the
lot
cost per
higher
car is changing. And how many more are out there? Have they tested 50% of their vehicle engines and models? Have they tested 10%, 80%? We don't have any idea. So it's hard to get a handle on where they are in terms of these big material numbers.
Presumably that makes it hard to value the shares. It's a bit like the Deepwater Horizon thing. How can you guess how much a share is worth when you simply don't know?
And to be fair, they're probably unknowns, but a lot more clarity and specific. This is where we are in our testing plan. This is where we expect to be would be really helpful. And also maybe the other big side of this is really around the brand impact. So not so much from a shareholder perspective, but from a consumer perspective, there's this constant drip feed of another scandal and another scandal and another scandal. And selling cars is about brands. And in one of their biggest markets, they're actually their biggest single market, China, which is also reputed to be their most profitable market. They sell their Volkswagens on the basis that their brand is a solid, trusted, reliable foreign brand, and that's why they sell at a premium over the domestic vehicles. So if that brand image starts to degrade, that's a really big problem for their profitability long term as a company, which as a shareholder, obviously once this scandal blows over in a few years, that profitability and those margins are really important for where this company sits in its valuation.
So in short, we want less apologising, less regret, more detail and more planning. Wolfsburg, are you listening? Thank you very much, Rochelle.